Hey guys, what's going on and welcome back. Today you're going to learn how to create a super cool n8n workflow, which essentially is scraping the trending and the latest videos that are trending within the niche or the keywords that you want to. Okay, so this is really cool for people who are doing a lot of content, or maybe you have a client who's doing content and you need to create a something like this to kind of scrape the latest trends on YouTube based on the niche or the query that the client is doing videos on, or maybe just you want to do it yourself for yourself. Okay, so use cases are multiple ones, and again, I will be explaining everything on a beginner level basis. Okay, so I'm gonna be covering essentially most of the nodes right here. I'm gonna open each node, explain you how it is and how it works, and again, this is a really useful workflow. Okay, so it's not like something that just goes with the trends in a sense. Like it's not like a video generated or something that doesn't have too many use cases. So this is actually a workflow that I'm using and the client is using to scrape the videos for themselves and for myself to kind of know what are the latest trends within the niche that I'm in. So for example, in my case, I'm scraping videos on the topic of n8n, AI, and automations, and the client is scraping content for Shopify, e-commerce, and stuff like that. Okay, so and I'm gonna show you how you can adjust it based on your niche and based on your search queries. Okay, and guys, as a bonus, you already know I'll be providing this entire template that you can see on the screen right here for 100% free. Okay, so you can import this entire thing into your n8n and start scraping videos right away. There's going to be a couple of edge cases that you need to cover, like YouTube API keys, but I'll cover those as well over the video. So make sure that you stick around because I'll explain in summary how you can acquire the API keys that you need to use here to scrape the videos. Okay, yeah, and if that sounds cool and if you want to do that, then let's dive into it right away. Cool, and as a bonus, you guys already know I always provide these super massive sticky notes right here. Okay, so this one is actually extra massive, but again, this is made on mind or in mind, whatever, for beginners. Okay, so if you're a complete beginner in automation and n8n specifically, so this will be really, really useful because I sort of explaining how I've set it up specifically for ClickUp. Okay, because we're logging some stuff in ClickUp. So not only you are learning n8n foundations and automation and scraping, you will also be learning how to actually log and integrate ClickUp project management tool into your n8n, okay, or vice versa. So that's really, really cool thing to have because so many companies and businesses are using ClickUp. So once you learn how to actually work and automate stuff with ClickUp, outside ClickUp, that's a really, really crazy skill to have these days. So let me go ahead and kind of explain you what these do behind the scenes and how they work, so you can kind of wrap your hand, not your hand, so you can wrap your head around everything that's happening here on the screen, right? So right here we have a daily trigger. So it's a trigger node. So everything that's happening in n8n in a sense as a building blocks, they're called nodes. So each of these ones are nodes. Okay, so this is a trigger node. Okay, it needs to trigger an action within the workflow or trigger the workflow. And here I'm triggering essentially every Monday at midnight. I want to trigger the flow, so it goes on YouTube, it scrapes the video, and runs the entire workflow. Okay, so this is kind of the part that you should kind of make a note if you want to use workflow for yourself or for your clients. So the search params essentially is a node where I'm defining basically the search queries. Okay, so what kind of a topic I want the API to scrape and what kind of a content I want to do, because we're sending all of the findings to the flow, to the AI agent, and AI agent will analyze. It'll essentially suggest the content based on the findings. Okay, so I'll cover the AI agent also in a bit, but just let's go with this for now. So here, essentially, we're using an array. If you're, somebody who comes from the development background, you'll know what it is. But essentially, array is sort of a think of it as a little building block where you kind of condense a bunch of search queries. Okay, so instead of doing everything word by word, we're putting everything into an array, and that array contains search queries because it just kind of it makes more sense logically from the business logic side to condense everything into an array and send that off to the workflow and etc. Okay, so you don't need to think about it too much. What is an array? Again, you will get all of this, and really all you need to think about, in a sense, to okay, how do I change this for my niche or for myself? Just essentially change these parts right here. Okay, so here I have Shopify AI UGC, so that's the content I'm scanning for. If I want to change it, for example, I would essentially delete all of this like this. Okay, and I'm gonna do something like, for example, AI. Okay, and it's important that you always put it into a quotation marks, like double quotes like this. Okay, because you're using something called a string in a JavaScript, and strings are always wrapped within the, I forget the name for it. I just told you guys. They're wrapped in the whatever these things right here. Guys, crazy. I just mentioned it and I forgot it. It's wrapped in these two. Okay, and then you need to always separate with a comma. Okay, because if you don't, you're gonna get a JavaScript error. So if you want to add another search query, so again, you're gonna go back here. We're gonna put a comma, break down into the new line, and we're gonna go here. And here I'm gonna again put the quotation mark. There you go, quotation mark. I remember it. I'm gonna put quotation mark because it's a string. And now I'm gonna add something like n8n. Okay, so it's going to be comma again, and the one edge case, if it's the last search query, for example here, like this. Okay, if it's the last one that you are going to be adding into the search array right here, for example, I'll put something like chat GPT. Okay, so if it's the last one, you don't put comma. Okay, so it's really more of a JavaScript thing. So if it's the last string in the search query right here, so the last one, just don't put a comma, just leave it empty like this. Okay, so that's for that. That's how you essentially change the search queries. So let me just refresh to reset everything to the original. Okay, and I'm gonna move on to the next nodes for you guys. Okay, so now we are moving to a split node, and essentially all it does really, it just splits everything. Let me see. So it splits. Okay, so it's essentially using the split node to split the search queries. Okay, which is, I think, this one here. So yeah, exactly. So here we have search queries, and we're using a split node to split out each individual search query into its own. Okay, so something like that. Then we're going to be sending everything to our API. Okay, so this is where the magic happens. We're using a YouTube's API. It's free. I believe it is free. So you need to create an account on Google Cloud. Okay, let me just show you. You're gonna go here, Google Cloud Console. Okay, and you're gonna create an account. Account is for free, and I do believe you're gonna go to APIs and services here. Then you're gonna go to library, and you're gonna search for YouTube. And I believe it's going to be YouTube Data API v3. Let me just verify that. Yeah, so v3 search. And essentially, you're going to click on this one, and then you're going to enable it. And once you enable it, let me actually see, just do it. It's not the right account, but I'm just going to do everything live so you can kind of see how it works. Okay, so now I'm going to go credentials. And then essentially, what do you want is, let me see. Then you're going to go here to create credentials, API key, and then it's going to generate API key. Okay, right here. I just closed mine so you guys don't steal my API keys. Okay, API keys are confidential, although it's free, so it's fine, but still trying to follow the best practice here. So once you have it, you're going to see it right here, and then you essentially show the key, or like even when you generate, you're going to see it right away. So copy that API key, put it somewhere on your computer or desktop, whatever, to share with anybody. And essentially, you're going to put it right here. Let me just first delete my API key so you guys don't see it. Okay, so I deleted my API key so you guys don't see it. So if you're going to scroll down here, I put a placeholder. So you're going to essentially put it here. Okay, so I'm actually going to duplicate this flow, and I'm going to make sure to enter the placeholder for API keys. So when you download the JSON template and import it, you will essentially see this placeholder right here, and you will know exactly where to put that API key you just generated to the Google Cloud Console. One note on a Google Cloud Console, I believe it is limited to 100 daily API requests for their YouTube search. Okay, so don't exceed those. But again, I don't think you're going to be doing like 100 search API requests. You're probably going to do like one or two. Okay, if you do more than 100, I think you will need to upgrade or pay for it. Okay, not really sure. So far, 100 was more than enough for whatever I'm doing. Okay, so here you're going to enter API key. And a couple of things, let me just walk you through quickly through the node. So again, this is the URL. We're essentially calling the API key, and the method is get. Okay, so HTTP method, we're using get because we want to get the data from the YouTube's API. Okay, so we have a few ones. There's also a post, but again, we'll cover that in different videos. And I'm also covering these ones, specifically HTTP method requests, I think for the AI video contents. Okay, so make sure to check out my YouTube channel. All the videos are free and everything is free, including JSON templates. I have a couple of videos on like CDANs and VO3. So they're kind of a dive more into HTTP requests. Okay, so if you're curious to learn, go ahead. But if you want me to drop a course specifically on APIs and HTTP requests, let me know. I'll drop a short video on that as well if you're curious to learn about it. Okay. All right, so here using, okay, the fields, a couple of things that could be cool to cover for you guys. So the queue, if you guys ask like what the hell is queue? Queue essentially is a query or search query. We are pulling that from the previous node. Okay, so search queries are here. This is the one. So we are splitting this this field right here. So search queries. So essentially we are then pulling that in here. So JSON.search queries. So in n8n, if you want to pull data from previous node, you essentially need to do $JSON dot and the reference node input expression, whatever you're using. Okay, so these ones are expressions because they're variable. So double curly braces in n8n, and those are expressions or variables. Okay, and we're using them to pull a dynamic data from other nodes. Okay, it's not static data because if I delete this, if I, for example, change to fixed, this will not do anything. It's just going to be essentially a raw text. And once we send it to the next node, it's going to crash because it's just a text that doesn't really mean anything. So if we want to set actually the data from previous node that is dynamic with the data, we need to use the curly brackets $JSON because everything in n8n is a JSON behind the scenes. And then we access the node through a .search query. So it's kind of, if you guys are coming from JavaScript, it's sort of like accessing, I guess, classes. Kind of reminds me of that. But anyways, if you guys want me to drop a beginner-friendly JavaScript course, kind of a tailored around n8n, also let me know down in the comments. I can definitely do it. I can drop like a 10-minute course on JavaScript in terms of what you need for n8n, okay? Cool. Then the type essentially is video. We're defining a video because we want videos. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. Order, essentially we're ordering or filtering or sorting everything based on the relevance. Okay, and the key is the API key in here, as I explained. And this is important also, well, important for me because I want to pull the data from US region because I'm in Canada. I'm not really interested what's happening in European Union or in different countries because that's not the audience. But again, if you're in Europe or specific country, American content might not be resonating with your audience. So you can always just simply change this to whatever the country, state, or region you wanna target, and that's pretty much it. And here we are essentially defining a date, so because we don't want to pull videos that are like 2025 or 2015. Okay, so we're specifying a specific date after which we want to kind of pull the videos after, and that's essentially that for the node. I think that's kind of the core node right there. Then we are splitting the video results. Again, we're using a split node. We are splitting the field that is called items. I think it's going to be in the output right here if I run it. Actually, let me just run it so we kind of see the data. And I will also show you quickly how it syncs with the ClickUp immediately, okay? So let me just run the flow so we get some dummy data in here. So here it's gonna run, it's gonna do the whole thing. So you guys kind of see in action that it's actually working. Let's give it a sec. Here we have a wait node, okay? I'm using a wait node because we have tons of data coming in, Okay, so just to make sure we don't crash the whole workflow, we're giving a bit of a, I guess, buffer space. And then we're going to move on to log everything to the spreadsheets, the data. We're logging everything to our spreadsheet. Okay, so before we log that to ClickUp, we're going to be essentially here. You'll see an example. So here we have all this raw data coming in from the weight node. Okay, so here we have description, channel ID, channel title. Okay, the title itself, the tags, and I believe we also have description and everything. We have category, which is pretty awesome. Here we're going to log all of this into a spreadsheet, which is going to take a bit of time because there's a lot of data. Okay, here it is, it's done. You guys can see it right here. So everything got logged like this, nicely and organized. Okay, which is pretty awesome. And let's see, then we are moving on to the next stage. Okay, where we're going to be adding data to ClickUp. Okay, so this is, I guess, more of a complex part because we're kind of integrating the ClickUp integration. And since the flow is done, let me guys show you quickly where did it go. Okay, so what I actually want, I want to know the name of the video that got logged right now. So it went to here. Okay, it went to the ClickUp. Okay, it went to the ClickUp, and this is the name. Okay, so let me just copy this and pull that in the ClickUp. And here is the ClickUp itself. Here you can see this is essentially the same thing, and the way we are organizing everything. Okay, so we have the title, the channel, so everything is really nicely and concisely organized, which is really cool. So if you're using any other project management, maybe using Monday.com or any of the other ones, big players like ClickUp, well, ClickUp here for example, all of them offer their own APIs, and you can essentially do the same thing right here. So everything is here. We have the all the links and essentially everything you want to know to kind of be up to date with the current trends. Okay, so here I've essentially comment this automated comment because I've already run this flow before. Okay, to avoid duplications, essentially we are catching that it's a duplicate, and we're saying that basically, hi team, this trending video has already been captured previously. Okay, so we don't want to duplicate stuff. We have a duplication sort of safety measure implemented, so we avoid any duplications and don't just duplicate another same content in ClickUp. Okay, and yeah, that's actually how it goes into ClickUp, which is pretty awesome. And again, I left all the massive notes right here, how you integrate with the ClickUp, how it works, so you can kind of set it up. But again, if you're having any problems or issues, let me know down in the comments and I'll definitely help you out. Okay, so don't worry about it. For now, I'm essentially generating everything into, or logging everything into ClickUp, but you can also do it in a way that it gets sent to a agent right here, and it will essentially analyze the content. Okay, so here we have sort of a prompt. Okay, analyze the product e-commerce automation video, but again, you can change the prompts based on your niche. Okay, so again, everything is pre-prompted, just really tailor everything based on your niche. And if you want a agent to kind of handle all the output instead of the ClickUp, okay, just simply really disconnect the node right here, and you can then just kind of directly drag it into a agent like this. Okay, so now this is connected. If I go to a agent and I execute this node, now it should receive this data. And now let's see, there's something went wrong here. Okay, it's because we're essentially referencing wrong node. Okay, so this is an easy fix. Okay, we can essentially remove this one. And what you're gonna do is just essentially drag them. Okay, so here, what I want to give to a agent. Okay, I'm gonna give the title. I'm gonna give the description. Okay, what else? I'm gonna give also the tags. Okay, and let's see what else we're gonna give to a agent. Let's see, the search query, that could be also important, so it understands the niche and I guess the automation, well, the category. Okay, and I think, do I need to give anything? Not really. And the same thing here. Okay, so now agent should work. So now if I execute this, that should work. Okay, it's executing the node. Let me just check if I'm referencing everything in the system message. I don't think so. No problems here. So now now it should work. Okay, so we'll just give it a second. It should be done in a minute. I think it's probably taking up a bit of tokens. Okay, actually not that much, only 700. That's pretty conservative. So now it gave us a output. Okay, so here it is. It's giving a trend insights. It's just giving a bunch of cool data, right? So I'm not going to decipher it right now, but again, if you wanted, you can just continue it, and then it's going to log to everything to spreadsheets and stuff like that. So again, it's kind of a two-way street. You can either do it ClickUp or project management, or you can just bypass it like this and connect the funnel directly to an agent, and you will be good to go. Okay, so let me just reset everything back to the default one. So yeah, guys, that's essentially it. I think we covered quite a bit in almost 25 minutes. Okay, so the foundations of n8n, the nodes, APIs, API requests, the basics really, connecting stuff like ClickUp, AI agents, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So again, if you guys enjoy the content, make sure to like and subscribe, because I'm constantly dropping videos like this, always providing JSON templates. And I'm super open to feedback and comments. And really, if you guys want to challenge me and say, hey, can you build this or that workflow, I'll do it. And I'll always provide a free template for you guys to download. Okay, so you don't need to go to any other platforms, sign up, register to download the template. Everything is available through a Google Drive link, and just download it, plug and play in your n8n, and you're good to go. All right, guys. So I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, like and subscribe. Enable notifications so you get notified when I drop my next video. And you already know, I'm going to see you next time.